When it comes to salary, benefits, and working conditions in school districts across the state, who decides the exclusive representative for teachers? Turns out that decision was made decades ago in most school districts, and it's a monopoly. Education Minnesota is the exclusive representative for most teachers in the state of Minnesota. But a group of teachers here in Becker, Minnesota, decided to challenge that with a decertification vote. We're going to tell their story. I think we need to kind of tell the story of when you're a teacher in Minnesota, we're not a right-to-work state. Think back to that time when you first started teaching and you walk in and do all the HR paperwork, and then there's this decision, or the not a decision, you know, union or not union.
I don't think it's something I even thought about at the time. I got hired, I went to school, I filled out my payroll information, they issued me my stapler and my classroom materials, and one of the things I did was just sign up for the union. So at the time, I don't think it was really a consideration to think about, are you going to be in the union or not? Many locals at that time had nearly 100% participation.
And for you, was that here in Becker then, or
yeah?
And was it already decided? Was it an MEA or an MFT?
Yeah, Becker was a MEA school, so that decision was already had and was decided probably in the 1970s when collective bargaining became a thing. So I thought about, the first 25, 28 years of my career, I had zero input into this organization that I belonged to.
So since that time, there's really been only one choice. And that, I think that kind of gets to the crux of the effort here, is like, again, maybe get to the why. Why do what you guys are doing? And articulate, that monopoly union situation, right?
Having been involved and been in leadership positions or on committees that we were heavily involved in, whether it's benefits or being the treasurer, being officers, you want to be a good steward of your resources. I believe that we're all called to do that. So when you see what topics the state and national union are embracing and endorsing, encouraging, it bothers me. I don't want my money spent, ways that I disagree. And so that to me was a huge deciding factor in leaving, even though I liked being involved at a local level. I believe that I've said this before, I believe that Education Minnesota and the National Union does nothing for me that we can't do for ourselves. And local control is what's necessary.
And to be clear, you're not anti-union. You're members of a union, you formed another union. So it's really not about being anti-union, it's about where the position of the state and federal union relative to the local union.
Well, those topics are outside of our working conditions, they're outside of our benefits, they're outside of our salary, and they shouldn't be involved in those other topics. It's too political.
So help me there a little bit. So what does Education Minnesota do that for the people that aren't familiar? I mean, is it politics? Is it political views? I mean, what's at the rub of the fight?
For me, they support a lot of political agendas that I don't necessarily agree with. I have a hard time giving money to an organization that goes against things that I personally disagree with. And this
is beyond education issues.
Absolutely.
So you're saying they're involved in political issues beyond like what you would think, the union should be involved in, teacher issues.
Correct.
So beyond that.
Give money to a union, I feel like it should be for my wages, my benefits, and that's it. Like it shouldn't go to support something that goes against what I vote in or am voting for. It should be just to help my job, my benefits, my wages, my insurance. If I'm giving money to Education Minnesota, I'm basically canceling my vote in November because they're putting so much money to fight against what I believe in.
Yeah, two of the keys really I think are, there's so many issues in education, and oftentimes what you see is Education Minnesota works against the teachers. We go back to all these recent unfunded mandates where you can't discipline children. Right? Children can assault staff members, and you can't suspend a child under a certain age. It's made our schools less safe. That's where I would expect the union to stand up for teachers, but instead they do the opposite. right? They had 35 years since really 1989 to work on pension reform and delivered zero. Not one single reform for Tier 2 teachers with our pensions. So if you're paying that much money to an organization and they don't deliver in over 3 decades, why do they deserve another chance at that point? So it's not just that they're not supporting maybe what I support, but they're not an effective organization in my eyes to do what I want to join a union for. I have friends that are in the bricklayers union, the electrical, unions, and their unions do a really good job for them. And what does this state and national union deliver? They deliver things that make it less safe for teachers. They don't improve pensions. And then I think about all the things we have to tackle with literacy rates and all these things. And instead they're spending money to send Randy Weingarten to Ukraine to inspect the front lines and all these things that honestly are idiotic and they have nothing to do with education. So if I'm going to belong to an education union, I want them to advocate for education.
Okay, so beyond opt-out or not paying dues that go to politics, you guys took it to another level here in Becker, and you created your own. First step, you created your own local union. Talk about that. Just what went into that decision. The Becker Association of Professional Employees. Did I get that right? Educators. Okay.
It started out with just some conversations. You go to the teacher's lounge long enough, and you hear things that you think, "Boy, I'm 180 degrees different than that conversation." And it led to some conversations with people, most of them sitting right here, and saying, this isn't working. This is driving me nuts. It's keeping me up at night. Did you know they're now came out in favor of this or that, or they're funding something that just really bothered us. So we had a meeting and talked about it. And then we all chickened out that first year and said, well, there's going to be pushback. I know this person won't talk to me. And so we stewed on it for a few months. And I think it was in January of that next year, I just sent a text and said, I can't take it anymore. At the end of this year, I'm opting out. So that summer, 25 of us opted out, which was a very large group. And we started the process at that time just opting out and thinking, well, at least I'm no longer going to support what the state and national unions are doing. But it didn't take long for us to figure out that there was another option because many of us had been involved. Cindy had been an officer in 2 of our local unions. Tom had served as president. I had served as president. And we figured out, you know what, there's another option. We can create our own union because we're not anti-union, right? The fact that we created our own local union kind of disproves that on its face, right? So we decided, what do we like about the union? Well, we like talking about pay and benefits and working conditions. What do we not like about unions? All this other noise that detracts from what we're trying to do. So we went about, created our own bylaws, signed up with the state, got recognized by the Bureau of Mediation Services that we are indeed able to be the exclusive representative, and then just told people, including I would note the incumbent union, here's what our plan is. So one of the things is our transparency has been, I believe, something to really be proud of because we invited all our local affiliate leadership to a meeting and said, here's what we're going to do.
All right, so there's opt-out and then there's form the new union locally. The next step then is really to position the new union, the local union, as the official bargaining, what's the term, the exclusive bargaining representative for teachers in the district, because that is a decision that school district, the board, needs to make. And talk us through that process now. So now okay, let's try it, take it up a notch, I guess, I think. And so is it back to BMS to kind of work on the process and talk about that process a little bit?
Yeah, several years ago we waited until the state law at the time said once the contract is expired, you can challenge the exclusive representative. And that's for any union. So we waited till the contract was expired. And I'll say we're not very good at persuading people because we don't try to persuade people, right? We think this is a very personal decision and we just state facts. So we went about trying to collect these challenge cards, right? Because you have to have 30% of the current bargaining unit agree to trigger this election.
So for folks not in a union, there's literally a card that gets signed and you guys are passing them out, and not a huge sales pitch, but you're saying, hey, here's an option, and you have to get those signed and they go to the state?
Correct. And you can't do it on school time, and there's all these rules. So when we first started doing this, I was threatened to be sued several times, which I thought would be, hey, I've never been sued. That's a new thing, right? And yeah, we started collecting those signatures, but again, we were just informing people of their rights and saying, hey, here's what we stand for. You know, if you don't agree with that, you might consider this. But people started hearing all sorts of outlandish things like, well, if the state union's not, their affiliate's not in charge anymore, you won't have health insurance. That was one of the scare tactics, right? And your union membership has nothing to do with your health insurance. As evidenced by all of us are not members, we still have health insurance. In fact, it would be illegal to offer someone not in the union a different fringe benefit or pay or whatever. So personally, I was kind of taken aback at how much, I knew there was going to be resistance, but I didn't think it would come down to deceptive techniques and people saying those things. And as we disproved them, people in the exclusive representation unit would say, well, yeah, that wasn't true. And we would say, are you going to correct the record? And the response was, no, why would we do that? Right? So the first time it fizzled, we had 25% or so cards signed, and then the contract was ratified in our district, so that kind of put a pause on our process.
Okay, and then the calendar moves forward and the second time comes around and you found a new way to do this, like before the contract expired because of state law as it relates to unions. Talk about that. I mean,
there is an early window before the contract expires that says you can file that union challenge or that exclusive representation challenge. And I was just kind of digging around, looking at things. I saw it, and I think by the time I saw it, we only had about 2 weeks. And so I texted everybody and said, hey, there's a new little angle here. We could do this. Do we want to do this? So we gathered everybody because, again, we want everybody to have a voice. This is not a top-down. Our organization certainly isn't. And I said, do we have the time? Do we have the backbone here to try to do this? Here's what it's going to mean. And every person at that meeting that came said, yes, we need to do this. This is important enough. So we went out and started educating people, and right under the wire, it was right up pretty much till the last minute, we were able to gather 30% signatures from a union that had been in place since the 1970s. And to me, that was just a huge obstacle to overcome, because in Minnesota, there had never been a successful challenge to an education union. And to have 30% of the people look at the facts and say, hey, I believe there should be a vote, that's kind of a cool thing. There was people that said, when the vote comes up, I'm probably going to vote against you, correct, but I believe everybody deserves a chance. Everybody deserves to cast a ballot to say, hey, this is the way a democracy works. And many of the people that I had talked to during that time said, we want to force a vote because we've been ignored too long.
I think that was actually one of the misconceptions that the local gave to a lot of these, a lot of their members. They would tell them, don't sign that card, don't sign that card. All we wanted to do was give all of our coworkers a chance to have a vote. They could have absolutely voted no, or voted for their local. But we just wanted to give everyone a voice.
The word was, if you sign that paper, it was giving us the authority. It wasn't just for the vote, it was you were saying you were gonna vote for them.
Right, so cards, you met the threshold for cards, that goes to the BMS, and now there's an election. What's the election window? First of all, what's the timeline on that?
They decided it was going to be a see-through mail-in ballot.
Well, we'll get to that. Just the timing of the election.
I think we were given about a 3-week notice that there would be an election and it would be done via U.S. mail.
In 3 weeks. So it's really a 3-week campaign. So talk about the campaign now, because this is, a sprint, not a marathon. So what did you guys do in terms of talking to colleagues about, hey, vote for BAPE or vote local?
Honestly, we were just, if someone asked for well, just make sure you vote. I don't feel like we
put out some mailers and things like that,
Yeah, we did.
that had factual information,
Yeah.
just kind of broke down some numbers and things as far as where your dollars are going to and what that looked like and how would that be different if we were the representative.
Let's talk about the process a little bit. So we get these envelopes, a packet is sent to all teachers. There's been some discussion over the return envelope that the ballot goes in, that it wasn't, it really should be a secret vote. I mean, that's the essence of this process would be everyone's choice is not going to be held against them or tracked or anything. Talk about these envelopes. I keep hearing about these envelopes that come up. I mean, you showed me already, Tom, what the envelope is.
Well, I don't know, I can't remember who actually said it initially, said something about the see-through envelope, and I'm like, see-through envelope, I still have mine. And I had marked mine with a black Sharpie because I wanted to make sure, hey, here's my vote. and not only did the Sharpie show through, I took the envelope, which has got my number on the bottom corner of it and everything else, I just put up to my patio window. You could read everything on that entire ballot. And where I voted, you could see Becker, the local affiliate's name, you could see our name on there and exactly where I voted. So it was like security in terms of the election process.
And that's from the Bureau of Mediation
That's from Bureau of
Services. That's from the state.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct. And none of us here believe we won the vote. We're not saying anything like that, but I joke with people that I've seen more election security in a junior high student council election, right, than we had from this state organization. And people were apprehensive because they were worried that people were going to know how they voted. And it was supposed to be secret, but yet every envelope had a tracking number on it that went back to a person. And I think people were concerned enough. I had people tell me, listen, I see how you get treated by other people, and I think it's gross and disgusting. And quite frankly, I don't ever want to get treated that way. And I think we had about 10 or 11% of people that didn't return a ballot. And when we were grossly outspent. The local exclusive rep had parties. They had ballot harvesting parties. Hey, come for a free meal and give us your ballot and we'll return it for you. They had statewide officers from Education Minnesota come out and said, well, you don't want to trust the mail, it might not make it, and so we'll drive it for you to St. Paul and turn it in. Again, we don't think...
they met the morning of the vote and picked up the final votes to go down to count them.
So again, we don't believe that we actually won the vote, but you look at it and think, this is the best a state agency can do.
So how did it go personally then? I mean, relationship-wise. I mean, you work, it's not a big town we're in right now, Becker. I mean, and so 213 teachers, you got to work with these people, and you probably know them and before and after. So just talk about relationships and civility and how that went.
What I go back to is I think when you build these relationships over, I've been here 33 years, hopefully people understand your character and I'm not here to mislead anyone in any way. I'm all about, I want you to be informed, okay? And then you make your choice. And then since then, there's a few relationships that have changed in my life and I can't control that. I think people personalize my private decision. And that's where I think broken relationships occur, is when they personalize it, like so much in our society does now.
What advice could you give them, or assurance that you didn't get blackballed, you didn't get run out of town, you're not invited to Christmas parties anymore? I mean, how bad was it? Or maybe you can assure teachers that are thinking of going down this road. I think what you guys did is courageous. I mean, Liz, you put personal relationships on the line, public reputations on the line.
With the colleagues and stuff, I'm in a completely different building where most of them are against everything that we've ever said. So the coworkers that I already had a connection with, that didn't change. But the ones that I didn't, they got a little colder. So, but it didn't bother me any. But admin, I didn't have any issues with.
No, admin, I think, and rightfully so, steered away from the whole concept. I received a fair amount of, I would say it, vitriolic comments, but I also made myself the face of it, and I said, if you're in an uncomfortable situation, blame Mark. I mean, I don't care, right? I can handle that. It's just who I guess I am. I've done the homework on it. Someone had to sign that petition to the state, and I said, that can be me.
What advice do you have for other teachers around the state thinking they might be frustrated and start to have conversations within their own districts?
They do not have to automatically sign up or be a part of a state and national union. I also believe in this community that we would garner more support for our teachers if we were local only.
Just getting out there and talking to people, had a lot of support from community. So not being afraid to just kind of stick your neck out a little bit and let people know.
That's what I would say, is it's not as scary as one would think it is to opt out.
And I think there's a lot more teachers that feel the same way.
If we allow people to be able to express their beliefs and be able to think for themselves and to be able to, you know, just have a say, then I think it's a success what we've done, even if we didn't ultimately win the vote.
I'm not going to try to talk for everyone else, but from my perspective, I didn't see it as a failure. If more people are aware that, hey, this is an opportunity, I'm all for it. You don't have the stronghold that you think you do. And I think they operate from a place of fear. And it's tough to face the giant, but I'm here for it. Let's do it.